All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Business B.E.A.R podcast. We're so happy to have you back. It's your friend and buddy Connor Norman here, your business development specialist with Garrett County Government. I have got a doozy here for you today. I've got two friends in here that I have been chomping at the bit to get on the Business B.E.A.R podcast. They are professionals in the podcast sphere alone, at least in my opinion, and they're professionals in our business community. I'm so happy to have my friends Mike Fenton and Jon Bell in today. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
That was so good. That was the best intro I've ever heard. That was great.
I expect nothing less.
I do have some experience. This is actually my second podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, that was great. How we're doing? I'm doing great, man. We survived another summer. It was busy for rentals, sales, all that stuff. I'm doing good. Mike's still around. He looks happy, so we're doing
happy.
well.
That's good. That's what I want to hear. Let's hear about you guys. Tell our audience about yourselves. We'll start with Jon and then go over to Mike.
Thanks, man. We're a big fan of you, too. I remember you were our fifth guest on our podcast. So I think you're around episode 300 or 400. So thanks for finally inviting us. We really appreciate being that high up on your list. It's great. But on the same token, thanks for everything you do. I don't remember how long you've had your job here, and I don't remember who had your job before you. But same thing you guys are doing for the county is great. Garrett County, it's funny, a lot of people think I'm from here. It's probably because I've been here so long and done so many things here. I actually didn't grow up here, so maybe that's not something I should admit on this podcast because everybody thinks I am from here.
We love it. We love
it. But no, I came up here, very first time I came to Deep Creek was I played on Cheney Little League baseball team, like I think T-ball even. I was like 13 or 14 or something. And Cheney Enterprises, I believe they were a gravel company or something out of Southern Maryland, had a camp up here, which is now the bottom four holes of the Wisp golf course. It was called, what was it called? Fantasy Valley, maybe? Cheney owned Fantasy Valley. There's all these little cool, weird little cabins. Man, I was 13, so this would have been mid-'80s maybe, early 90s, something like that, mid-'80s. And that was my first trip to Deep Creek. I thought it was cool. Somewhere after that, I feel like I did a Boy Scout trip up here. I was pretty heavy into Boy Scouts for a while there too. And then my parents had a boat, and I was like, hey, let's go check out Deep Creek. It's cool. And me and mom and dad loaded the boat. We trailered it up here. We thought Western Maryland was Hagerstown, and we just kept on trucking and eventually found out where Western Maryland really was. After that, my mom and dad moved here. I don't remember, maybe 95, 96, somewhere around there. I went to college at Towson, graduated, and I figured I'd give living at Deep Creek a shot. And like pretty much everybody else, when you move up here, there's really not much opportunity unless you make it yourself. So kind of started bartending to make ends meet, got into real estate probably around 2006. I think I got my real estate license in 06, 05, 06, something like that when it was booming. Then real estate market really, really down, if you don't remember, in 2009. And that's when things changed. It really started opening up other businesses and stuff. Yeah. But stuck with real estate along the way, sold firewood along the way, got into renting vacation houses, pretty much everything. And things really started to click for me probably 2009 or 2010. Like a good thing was I wasn't used to having it easy. I wasn't used to just being easy sales and stuff like that because I came on. I was growing during a negative time. So I learned how to get in there and, fight for the business, work a lot. And my career really started clicking somewhere around 2009, 2010. There's a million things along the way. Bought into Railey Realty, became a partner, I believe, around 13, 14 years ago. Mike joined the team maybe 5 years ago?
2020.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, my timeline's actually
an exciting time to join up.
There's always so many things going on with me. When I think something was yesterday, it might have been 3 years ago, or I think it's tomorrow, it might be 3 months from now. Without my Outlook calendar, I wouldn't make it. But that was pretty good 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Railey Realty's doing really well. Mike and I are doing really well with sales. Railey Vacations, as far as vacation rental houses, we're doing really, really well. Can't complain. It's been a long trip. Now, Mike got here through a little bit different story.
Yeah, let's hear it, Mike.
I'm originally from New Jersey. My last name rhymes with the city that I'm from, Mike Fenton from Trenton.
I like that.
Yeah, and I moved out to Philadelphia when I was a teenager, the suburbs, and that was really exciting to get away from the city. I really enjoyed that progression that eventually led me out here of just kind of moving towards more and more and more space to open up. And, I was a chef in the Philadelphia area. By chance, I answered what was that they used to have? Craigslist. Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
So I answered a Craigslist ad for a sandwich maker. Never made a sandwich in my life, not even for myself. And went in and worked my way up to basically executive sous chef at this really nice country club. And I don't know, I just felt like I was kind of tapped out there, and I was at the point where it's like, all right, am I going to try and get the financing together to start a restaurant, or am I going to do something else? And a friend of mine who worked with the developer here at WISP was like, you should come check out Deep Creek. He's like, I think you'd be a good fit in sales. He seems like you got the personality for it, and I think you like the area too. So I came up here 2016 in February just to check it out, and I was just like blown away. I was like, all right, I gotta sell my wife on this, because we're moving 5 hours away from everybody we know and love to do something I've never done before without a guaranteed paycheck. So but she had full faith in me, and whether she really believed in me or not, she was like, all right, let's do it. We're young enough, we don't have a family or anything, let's go try it out. And worst case scenario, we can always go back to Philly and start a restaurant or whatever. So I did that. I worked with the land developer for about 5 years, and then they were wrapping up, and Russell Bounds had approached me, and at one point in time I was like, hey, what's the plan? Like, I know you're doing real estate and this, that, and the other thing. I was like, well, I'll probably go to Texas or Colorado or wherever the next project is. And he's like, well, if you ever stick around, let me know. We'd love to have you at Railey. I said, okay. And I just thought nothing of it, because I didn't think I would be sticking around. But my wife and I fell in love with the area. We wound up buying a house in Friendsville. And shortly after, I called Russell back, and I was like, I think I'm sticking around. So, do you have any
Awesome.
Do you have any space? So, and then after that, things were, it's like 2019, I was kind of struggling to get my bearings straight, because with National Land Partners, you're a seller's agent. You just, they pump the marketing, and you just go out and you sell stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's the same product with the same seller over and over again. But once I got into general real estate, it was a totally different ball game. And then things shut down in, March of that following year. And then Jon approached me and was like, I think things are getting ready to pick back up. He's like, I could use somebody, and he's like, do you think that would be a good fit for you? And I was like, well, I'm kind of don't have any experience at all, and you seem to know what you're doing. So let's give it a shot. And the rest is kind of history. I think we make a pretty good team.
I think it was literally on day 2. It was around 2020, about day 2 of Mike's career. We were really, really booming. I mean, it was getting to the point that we were showing houses all day long. I'd schedule an hour to show you houses at other clients, and it was crazy how busy we were. And day 2, I call Mike real quick. I'm like, hey, I need you to write up this deal. It's $3.8 million, blah, 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 blah. And Mike's like, wait, what? My first thing I got to type up is almost $4 million. I was like, it's fine. I'll review it before then I send it out. But it went that way, and we noticed, and it was really good timing. It was time for me to expand and bring somebody on too. Mike and I get along really well, so it's a really good fit. His work ethic is insane, just like mine. We're both workaholics, and the team started going. But it was right about that time period that just the market really, really picked up, and it was good timing for Mike and I to get together. I mean, it was just everything happens for a reason, and it was good timing.
Well, and I appreciate you guys sharing that, because it was such a, again, interesting time. The country was shutting down. And like more of your, I'd say your higher population areas, your more dense areas, they were seeing that downturn, and everyone wanted to get out here where it was like wide open spaces, room to grow, I think that separation was apparent here. And then you see, look at these magnificent homes, look at this opportunity that's out here that maybe didn't exist back home. So what a great time to jump into it. You guys have literally developed a whole podcast around your love of Deep Creek. You've had to find some way of expressing it. You do it in so many ways. But could you tell me a little bit about what exactly captured you to come into Garrett County, and what kind of environment do you feel like it's been as an entrepreneur and as a salesperson, a realtor in this community? Is it a good place to do business? What's your opinion on that?
So we sell a bunch of things and manage several different companies, whatever. But real estate sales and vacation rentals have always been the easiest for me because this is where I want to be, and I'm still convinced of this. We've sold 10,000 houses, right? And properties, whatever. I still don't think we sell houses. I think we sell the lifestyle. I've said this all along. If you're gonna like a house or not, if the house is ugly, I'm not gonna convince you it's pretty. You're gonna like the house or not. My job is to convince you how great it is to live here, and that's really easy for me and Mike too, because that's why we're here. So go back to my beginning story. I came up here as a Boy Scout. I was like 13, or baseball was 13 or 14. Came back at like 15. Mom and Dad moved here, luckily, as a coincidence. I was like, dude, this place is great. I grew up kind of in a suburb outside of D.C. when I was little, and we didn't have four-wheelers. We sure as heck didn't have a lake. We didn't have ski mountains, you know what I mean? So by the time she got up here, I remember really struggling with snowboarding in my upper or lower 20s, being like, I wasn't good at it, and I didn't grow up snowboarding as a kid. And I was like, this is freaking great. And, come up here, you work or whatever. Bartending at the time, I was really good at bartending in the evenings, so I could snowboard in the mornings. And, so you got addicted to it. I just really, really enjoyed snowboarding. And I wasn't used to this much snow. So I still today enjoy the snow, And then same thing with the lake. We grew up in southern Maryland, so you've got all the bays and whatever's down there. They got jellyfish and tides and stuff you don't understand.
Yeah.
Deep Creek's relatively harmless. Like, you need to be careful when you go out there, but it's a freshwater lake. There's no tides. It's just fun. And the other thing I always like about Deep Creek too is, I am a little bit sad today, but the seasons, they're constantly changing. Where I'm getting sad is we're in September, and hands down, September is my favorite month here. But it also means summer's ending. Like, I haven't taken the boat out yet, but I know it's coming. I probably already should have, but I'm convincing myself I'm going to go out one more time, whatever. But when spring hits and you put the boat in, you put the jet ski and you start going on the lake, it's awesome. And then fall here is amazing. Like, as long as you like hiking, mountain biking, stuff like that, fall is great. Then as soon as you kind of sort of maybe get tired of fall, it rolls into winter and starts snowing. And it's just it's really easy for me to sell houses and rent houses here. This is where I want to be. It's hard for me to go on vacation. Like, we honestly, my parents are constantly bugging me in the summer times to go to the beach on vacation. I'm like, this is the 13 weeks I want to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's really hard for me. Same in the wintertime. It's just, so no, that's what drew me here. Growing up, I didn't realize this world existed. And then I found it, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Wow. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I wish it was as beautiful, but I came here for a job. That was why I came here, and I had no idea that
You're
Deep
in sales,
Creek.
you can exaggerate.
I came here, I did. I came here for a job, but I stayed for all the reasons that Jon just explained. You know what I mean? Like, I never even heard of Deep Creek Lake before, and when I explain to people that it's 2 hours south of Pittsburgh, but it's in Maryland, it's like they've never seen a map before. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like tucked away. But after, I'm not as much of an adventurer as, like I had skateboarded and stuff when I was a kid, but like, I just love this space. I mean, it's just beautiful out here. And I'm kind of a nerd, and I'm an artist. I like to make music and stuff like that. So just to be away from all the noise, it was just a natural progression for me to end up someplace like this.
Yeah.
So, Although I will say, Jon took me out surfing, and that's a lot of fun.
Surfing's great.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm 48, and it's something that's a whole lot easier than wakeboarding. But I decided too, I think I said this on the podcast, I just don't want to live in an area where I can't have a four-wheeler.
Yeah.
I know it sounds goofy, but I've got a four-wheeler in the garage. And I'm thinking about this. Have you ever seen anyone in a bad mood on a jet ski or a four-wheeler?
No, I can't say I have.
Not even when they get thrown off and they're like, oh my God, that was crazy.
I did think of an example. But very rarely do you see somebody in a bad mood on a four-wheeler jet ski. Think about this. You have, and I really don't know, I haven't had an adult life anywhere but here, right? But where else can you go to work, have a good day, a bad day, whatever, be tired, and go home and hop on my four-wheeler and ride 45-minute trail? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
in the, like, so I didn't, I'm weird about stuff. I usually don't let myself buy something until I sell something. So I had a dirt bike that I never rode because I'm getting old and it was scary. So I decided to sell it to buy a jet ski, and I got a jet ski back this summer. And I made up my mind. I was like, I'm not going to live here without owning a jet ski again. It's just great. Like, you know, sometimes I'm the goofball that'll go out at 6:30 in the morning, and just me riding around the lake, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
In the evenings, you go home. And just, where else do you have that opportunities? It's just really cool.
I have my own version of what Jon says, and mine's like, I don't ever want to live someplace where I can't wave hi at somebody passing me at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know, everybody waves hi no matter what, anywhere you go from a car, and you don't get that outside of places like this.
You
Yeah, I
got to
think
be
that's
real
true.
careful, because if you don't wave, they get mad at you.
Exactly. It's true. They're like, oh, it's
I
tourists.
saw you. You didn't wave.
Well, and you know, I think moving here initially, I was like, man, people around here are really nice, but man, they can stare a lot. And then I became the person that's literally staring, because I'm trying to make sure that I recognize someone and say hi, because the consequences for not saying hi is much worse than just totally ignoring somebody, I think.
Yeah.
We tell you in our shoes, 10,000 houses, most of them are couples, 20,000 people, and you go to Honey and everybody recognizes you, and you're like, oh gosh, who's that person? Then you can recognize the house, and you think, oh, that's Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the house.
Wait,
You gotta be real
what's your
careful
address?
about
There
that.
you go.
Yeah.
What's your address?
That's pretty awesome. You know, there are a lot of people that you know, people that leave Garrett County, a common criticism would be there's not enough to do for families, kids, etc. And I highly disagree.
100%.
And I know you guys are on the same path here. Here, you generate your experiences. Your experiences will not be generated for you. And I think that's a great differentiating factor about where we live. It's why we choose to live here. Again, it's an incredibly fun and interactive place. And like I said, you guys have spent careers kind of telling that story. You know, I think that whole live, work, play thing, I don't know who coined that originally, but I've always attributed to Railey Realty, because I think when I
think it was
first
Ryan
moved
Foster,
here,
but we'll take it.
yeah, you know, live where you work and play. You know, that was, I swear I saw that on Railey signs or something, but, you know, I'm happy to be wrong if it wasn't, but somebody will call me or email me and say, no, that was mine, but, you know, if it was yours, whatever.
I was gonna say who?
But I've always attributed that to Railey, and it's again, I think that's an ethos you guys really put out there, and it's great because we have a great home. There's a lot to do, and as realtors, as business owners, you guys are helping to tell that story. And I think the more people that choose to make it home, you know, they really benefit from the great people, the great atmosphere, and I think it's better because you come here, you start a business, you get involved, you can find. I say often, and I use this example a lot. If you have a Thai restaurant down in Baltimore, you are one of many Thai restaurants. There's a competition down there. You come open up that Thai restaurant in Garrett County, you are it. You are setting the legacy. If anyone's listening. But do you guys think that's a fair assessment? Is there opportunity here?
There's tons of opportunity, but I think it's the same thing. You gotta make it. Like, if we chose to be lazy, and we have days like this. I have off days where I'm like, man, I'm gonna stay at home and not do anything, and I get bored. But as long as you choose to do something, there's always stuff to do. And as far as opportunity goes, man, if you really want to think about it, I bet you if I'm driving down the road on an average day, I come up with 8 business ideas. Like, there's so much opportunity for people to do here. You have to come here and try it and whatever. But I mean, if you're creative, before the podcast started, we were talking about a couple of people who are really doing some really cool stuff right now. And there's a ton of opportunity here. If you want to start it, I forget where I was going at with this, but yeah, there's a lot of opportunity.
That's awesome. Now, speaking of opportunity in fun stuff you guys have started, you know, the Not Salty podcast, for any listeners of the Business B.E.A.R podcast that aren't listening to one of Deep Creek's best podcasts, you need to get over and listen to the Not Salty podcast. You know, Jon, Mike, and Kristen have been incredible hosts of that show. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration to starting that.
Oh, it happened over beer.
Nice.
So beer and dragon boat races. And so we're behind. So we've put out 2 seasons so far.
Okay.
We've got, I'm gonna say 10 or 15, 10 episodes of season 3 recorded. The problem is, like, when you were just starting this, your intro was so good, and I stink at that, man. I've got to, I don't know. I was gonna say,
Well, just let me know. I will help you.
So, but that's why we're behind. So I've got to get on and record the intros and do it, and then we'll launch them. So we're really close. But the idea started, Mike, Kristen, and I feel like we went to the Dragon Boat race practice. And if you're not familiar with Dragon Boat, look it up. It's a great charity. It goes for the Doves, supports the Dove Center. But it's a big Dragon Boat race. We do it at Broadford Park every year, which, by the way, this was the 4th year, and I think we won all 4 years. Total luck. But anyway, after that practice, we went and had a beer at Vagabond. And I think it was Mike's idea. Mike was like, hey, I've got some editing equipment. You got a bunch of cool stories to tell. You want to start a podcast? And I think I was 2 or 3 beers deep at the time. I was like, sure. And that's
a great idea.
It started. So,
hey, I'm totally for it.
And we've got some really good ones I've got to put out and get out there. We've got, honestly, some celebrities. There's some, I don't want to say it here. There's a couple of local people who are legit celebrities, like TV and stuff. We've got them on there. We've got some really good podcasts to push out. And that's the other thing about Deep Creek. The more you get into it, everybody's connected to everybody, and there are some really cool people here. Like I was talking about celebrities and TV and stuff, but man, if you really look in the business world, if you look in the political world, there's some really cool people at Deep Creek. You know, some really influential people, and I think it's just because it's such a good location. Like, so many families have people in the D.C., Northern Virginia area, Baltimore area, Pittsburgh area, and Deep Creek's right in the middle, so you all convene. And the more you dig into it, the more you get involved in the community, you're like, oh, wow, that, you know what I mean? There's some really influential, neat people here. So getting back to business, if you're thinking about starting a business, your example of the Thai restaurant's right. If you're going to go to Baltimore and start a Thai restaurant, there's a million. Up here, there's not that much competition.
Yeah. Well, in one of our, I think to your point there, our strategic location in the country, you know, if you drew a circle of 300 miles around Garrett County, you're within 300 miles of 69 million people. I think we're centrally located and we're near centers of influence like D.C., you know, major markets in Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, you name it. That is even up into Ohio, and you're close to centers like Detroit, and in Michigan, go a little further, you know, you can get to Chicago. This is a great central location, and I think you've seen that gathering of people that have come through this area on their way from one adventure to another, from one important thing to another, and again, they've like gathered around this place, and you're capturing stories and history, I think, with your show. You know, it's a lot of fun. And I know you guys are there to do that. You love Deep Creek Lake. You're trying to promote that, and at the same time, you're also capturing the awesome people that have been here and the awesome things that they've done. So it's really cool that that's, you know, preserved for forever.
Deep Creek's changed over the years too. 20 some years ago when I started doing this, our average client was athletic. They wanted to ski, they wanted to mountain bike, they wanted to do whatever. Now we have so many clients who are kind of athletic, but they also just kind of want to get out of the city and chill. You know what I mean? And it's good for that. Like, we take fire pits for granted. Like, we go out with the kids and have fires and roast marshmallows every night. And our friends will come up sometime, and I'm like, you don't have a fire pit in your yard? And I'm like, no, we don't have a fire pit in our yard. You know,
fire? What?
But there's so much stuff here to do. And it's just, so yeah, you don't have to come here. We're discovering that, and again, I've never lived in a city since I was early 20s. I lived in Baltimore for a while, but I think life up here is just so attractive. It's so much easier. It's just a fun place to live.
Some of the businesses that have come to call Garrett County home, you know, I see them every single day, and some of the areas that are some of the businesses that have moved out of urban centers into Garrett County have always said there's a clear definition between what is work and what is life. And I said, that's awesome. Can I put that on mugs and t-shirts?
Right.
And give that out.
Yeah.
Because it's very true.
Have you had Bill German on your podcast yet?
I have not. I got to get him in here.
He'll listen to it. Bill listens to all these things. But he and I were on the phone last night and literally started with a conversation of something that I need for work. And I was like, dude, I think we could turn this into a business. And I think Bill and I literally have started 2 companies last night. But I mean, if you're creative and you get into that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here if you get up here and meet people. So if you are thinking about moving to Garrett County and starting a business, and again, I haven't done this in other areas, but what other areas have county support like we do? You know what I mean? You guys, it sounds goofy. Like if I can't figure something out, I'll get on the phone with the commissioners. We'll do, you know what I mean? I couldn't imagine living in Baltimore County and calling the commissioner. I don't even know if that exists.
Yeah,
you know? But anyway, it's a very supportive county too.
That's awesome to hear. And I'm going to put that on T-shirts. I'm going to put that in the headline of the podcast.
Connor for commissioner.
No.
Don't wish that on him.
Don't wish politics on me. Oh my gosh. I've got enough to do already. Oh. Anyway, thanks so much for sharing that story. I mean, it is awesome to hear. And I think, there's an unprecedented amount of cooperation and collaboration in this community. And I really appreciate what you guys have had to say so far. And gearing kind of back into the real estate world, I'd like to get a snapshot, like your guys' opinion. Jon, you've been doing this a while in Deep Creek. What did it look like, and what's it look like now? What's the real estate market looking like in Garrett County?
COVID is something everybody talks about, and it was totally unexpected. No one could have guessed that was coming,
Mm-hmm.
and no one could have guessed what was going to come out of it. And again, COVID was insanely horrible for the world. It was awful. But it was kind of good for Deep Creek because it woke people up and said, oh, this exists. Before COVID, the average family thought you wanted to go on your beach vacation once a year to Myrtle Beach or whatever. And during COVID, they were like, oh, there's this lake and these houses are spread out. And I'm going to say the COVID boom started slowing down probably from 20 to 24. It was wild. It was definitely a seller's market. We were just selling everything right and left.
Yeah.
Then this year we saw a little bit of a slowdown with all the Doge layoffs and all that kind of stuff. A lot of our renters were government employees, and whether they were getting laid off or thinking they were getting laid off or whatever, they kind of paused and didn't rent for a while. We noticed somewhere around July they started coming back. Okay, really? And again, they were all, relatively intelligent families, stayed for a rainy day, whatever. I think it was just everybody was kind of worried there in the beginning, so they weren't renting. Then July rolls around, like, oh, we're fine. We go back to Deep Creek. We saw the renters come back, and renters turn into buyers. So the two markets work together. We're in the vacation rental business because renters turn into buyers. So they started coming back, and then there's been some really cool cases of people I've talked to. When the government layoffs were happening, they were like, oh gosh, this one lady I remember talking to. She had her job for 19 years. She didn't have it anymore. She was beside herself. She didn't know what she was going to do. And we know her really well. One thing Mike and I do is kind of to a fault. We pretty much become friends with most of our clients. Because we want to. You know what I mean? And we get to know them really well, whatever. And we were talking to her and I said, okay, well, if you have to, we can probably sell the house for this and that. A month or two later, she called back and she goes, oh, get this. I got a new job. So... I'll round off and not mention names, but say she was a government employee for like $110,000 a year. Now she's in the private sector with $185,000 a year. She's actually buying a nicer house. So that kind of trickled down to Deep Creek. And then what we've seen with Deep Creek sales this year is our sales number are pretty close. Transaction-wise, we haven't sold quite as many houses this year as we did last year, but it's not a big drop. It's definitely less. If I'm rounding off, say maybe 10% less sales. We really haven't seen values come down, but what we've seen is buyers just smarter. So if you've got $1 million house and you price it $1 million, you're going to sell it. If you got $1 million house and price it $1.2 million, buyers are aware it's overpriced and they're not going to buy it. And it's just kind of, you have to, pricing your house right is very important. So you price it right, you're going to sell it, etc. But we also noticed that our wealthy people, like our wealthy clients who are cash buyers, or have private bankers, stuff like that, they've been buying all year long. They've just been buying. Everything is great. Our clients who are, say, your more normal clients, which are, say, $350,000 to $800,000 buyers, probably getting back to the private sector, government employees we were talking about before, they've kind of been sitting on the sidelines because everybody's expecting interest rates to come down. Mm-hmm. And, if you're buying a vacation house in July and interest rates are 7%, but you believe they're going to be 6% by September, you might as well wait, right?
Yeah.
So now we're starting to see them down, interest rates coming down some. We think they're going to come down some more. And I don't want to say we're not booming like we were booming in the peak of the COVID boom, but we're doing really well. Like the amount of houses, Mike and I put a house under contract last night. I remember the one year when I first started selling houses and really get into it, I decided I wanted to sell 52 houses a year. I wanted to sell a house a week. That was my goal, right? Then I knocked it out of the park. And then during COVID, I sold a little bit more than a house a day. Like literally during the COVID boom, I forget. I think I sold. It was just shy of 400 houses I sold with Mike's help. Mike and I, we sold about 400 houses. We were selling more than a house a day during COVID. I don't know that we'll ever see that again, but we're back to selling a bunch of houses. I'm not selling a house a week.
It's so funny. Part of me is like, I hope we don't, and then the other part's like, that was like so exciting. Like it was insane.
Oh yeah.
There's just always two sides of the coin, right? So the thing about us selling a seller's market is, right? So you're a seller and you put your house up for sale for $1 million and you get $1.1 million because there's 74 offers on it, whatever. That is really good for you as a seller, right? What happens for us as agents is, say there was 25 offers on the house, one person gets it, there's 24 buyers who didn't. So then we try it again, and then 24 of those buyers don't get it, and again. So then all of a sudden there's like 20 people like, D Creek's just not for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you can't, as a buyer, you can't lose but so many times, and so it's weird. Whereas now, most buyers we have, we actually get them a house. So it's just kind of different. And you'll notice that too. Like I kind of like the market we're in now a little bit better. We made more money in the market, but this market, we're really not selling to investors so much. We're selling to people who want to be here, and those are the people we want. Like,
I like that.
the people that we really enjoy selling to are the people who want to talk to me about jet skis, who ask me where Mountain State Brewery is because they like beer. You know what I mean? The people who are actually here, and they're the ones we want because they're the ones that go to our benefit dinners and support the local charities and support the business and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, this market now, I bet you when we get done with it, we probably sold, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 houses a week versus a house. That's so close. Say 3 houses a week versus a house a day. But we're still selling, it's still doing well, and we have over the past 2 weeks we've started seeing it really, really pick back up now that interest rates.
Yeah, and people are seeing all these price reductions, but like Jon said, the value of sold houses is actually not dropping that much. In the Lake area, anyway. So like just because you're seeing price reductions doesn't mean that the houses are selling for less. It just means that those houses just were listed for prices that buyers weren't willing to pay for.
Yeah.
So, but what they are willing to pay seems like they're holding pretty well, actually. And yeah, I mean, like it always feels like the end of the world when you're coming off the tailcoats of something like COVID. But when you look at the data, things aren't as crazy as it was, but it's not as slow as you think it feels. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
I wouldn't say even 3 or 4 houses a week.
That's
astronomical.
Yeah. I mean, if we sell a house a week, we're ecstatic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and as buyers too, you've got to be careful with price reductions. Price reductions are tricky because you'll see a house that was, let's say, worth $1 million. Pretend like they priced it at $1.3 million and it didn't sell. It was never worth $1.3 million in the first place. They drop it to $1.1 million. All of a sudden, you're a buyer and you're like, "Oh my gosh, they just did a $200,000 price reduction. Better buy it." And you overpaid by $100,000. So if you're listening to this is why you need to get a good buyer's agent. Call Mike or I. But don't go by price reductions because I mean, if a house wasn't priced right in the begin with, you know what's the matter. So I mean, it's very important to A, do your homework, and B, get connected with a good realtor. Hopefully us. If not us, call somebody else. Make sure you get a good realtor.
I think you brought this up one time, Mike, in one of your videos or something about that price reduction, like especially with interest rates and stuff like that, how somebody could end up paying more depending on how that changed. They could have bought now and ended up with a cheaper payment, but they waited. There was a price reduction, but the rate that they got in was made it more expensive.
The only point that that you can wrestle with the math, but the reality is you can't time a market. If you can't do it in real estate, you can't do it in with the stock market. It's just and all even when I was working at National Land Partners, everybody that didn't own a property here wished they bought 10 years ago. This place has a 100-year track record of people wishing they bought 10 years ago.
It's like all that Bitcoin stuff, right? Everyone that
half the stuff I sold 10 years ago, I wish I hadn't sold. Like I needed to sell it to get where I was,
right?
But I'd be retired if I didn't sell that stuff.
Yeah.
So the point I was trying to make is like if it's on your mind to buy a house, a second home, if that's a real thing that you want to do for yourself, talk to me and let's figure out if you're maybe looking at something outside of your budget. Maybe you want a lakefront home for $800,000 and that just doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Or maybe it does exist, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, or maybe you want to buy a lot. There's ways to figure. My job is to figure out how to get you from point A to point B. Your job is to tell me honestly if you want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so don't worry about what's going on in the market. We can figure out how to make it work for you today if it's a realistic thing, like if it's something you really want.
Yeah.
And there's always good deals out there. And in the peak of the COVID boom, it sounds horrible to say this, but there's a death, a divorce, there's always a good deal out there. So in the peak of the COVID boom, some of the properties we're serving our clients are still really good deals today. You know, you've got to be a smart shopper. There's a common saying, I say it a lot, buying's the hard part, selling's easy. As long as you buy it right, you'll be able to sell it someday down the road, right? Even go back in the 2006 real estate boom when things were crazy back then, and it went down in 2009. Some of the deals, the good deals in 2006, were still good deals in 2009, even though it went down. You just gotta, you gotta buy right. And then the other thing too is I always think about, and this is something. Hopefully Mike listens to me because I didn't listen to people before me. Your kids grow up fast, so there's money to it. If you're trying to figure out an $800,000 house versus a $900,000 house, and assuming you're qualified and can afford it and all that stuff, versus a 6.2% rate versus a 6% rate, but your kids are 13 and 15, man, don't wait 5 more years. You know, pay that extra couple $100 a month, get the house, we can refinance later. Because where I'm getting at now is Mike's in the thick of it. His kids are little, and I don't know, you probably don't have time to think. And I remember back then, everybody was telling me your kids will grow up fast. Now mine are 13 and 15, and you know, I'm kind of starting, largely because my wife keeps reminding me, waking up and being like, man, they're only here for 4 or 5 more years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then, so yeah, we sell houses here because of the lifestyle, but also here because it brings families together.
And
know?
that's exactly right. And that, you know, for me, and this is something my father-in-law taught me about Christmas is, you know, he pointed this out, and I view the same thing as Summers, and to what John was saying is, by the time you start considering a second home, your kids are probably like 3 or 5, you know what I mean? Then you have about 10 summers, right? Before they start not wanting to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they go, yeah. 10.
And your kids don't care if your house is $800,000 or $900,000. Go with the $800,000 house.
Or if you're
exactly,
you know. So and you can and the good news is, you know, a lot of smart people have been buying houses in the Deep Creek Lake area for a long time, right? So is anything a 100% sure investment? Of course not. But all of the things that you need in order to feel comfortable about putting your money in a place like this are there. You know, we have a great local economy. We have 3 major metropolitan areas that pour money into the area and spend money here and buy real estate here. You know what I mean? So, and it's within 3 hours, most likely, from where you are to decide last minute on a Friday night to hop in the car and head to Deep Creek.
Well, that's what we've been saying lately. Garrett County is a gas tank away.
Yeah.
So you need to come spend your time with us.
Yeah. The other thing for real estate, too, is it runs in cycles. Throughout my career, I'm sure it'll go down again. I'm sure it'll go up again. It happens.
Yeah.
Your right answer is to not freak out. Don't get yourself in a position where you have to freak out, and then don't freak out. A good example I can tell you is during it would have probably been 2007-ish or something. I found this really, really good deal on a condo for like $250,000, right? Bought it. It was cool. I had a friend that rented it. The rent was covering the mortgage payments, expense, and I was kind of breaking even, but I knew the friend. I knew I was good. He was going to rent it. Okay. Then the market started going down, and the neighboring property came up for sale for $165,000, so about $100,000 less than what I just paid. So I bought it, and then I was okay. I had a friend I was putting there, and the friend was paying it. It was renting it, whatever. Then in 2009, boy, it started really hitting the fan, and the other neighbor came up for sale, and I think I bought it for maybe $80,000. I don't know. I mean, these things were just tanking, right? So I bought it, and same thing. I put a renter in there, and it was fine. And at the time, I was kind of second guessing myself. I was like, boy, I hope your kids are little. I hope you're not a total idiot here. But I was telling myself I was okay because I knew these people needed a place to live. They were friends of mine. They were going to make their rent. We were good. And I waited it out. When the real estate market picked back up, I sold them off for way more than I bought them from. So like, had I have, when I bought the first one and the neighbor went up for sale for 160 whatever thousand, had I had freaked out and lost money there, that would have been a bad decision. But I was able to plan ahead, a little bit of luck, whatever, and keep the renters in there. And I waited out, didn't freak out, and it turned out to be a very good thing. So your real trick to it is don't get yourself in a position that scares you. Make sure you're comfortable buying it. 2, constantly talk to us and just don't freak out.
That's awesome.
It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Don't panic. It's the only words on the book.
Yeah. And it's funny. There are regrets in my mind that keep popping up. I remember condo with a lake view for $125, and I was like, no, this is absurd. I hate myself still to this day for that.
The best one I ever sold, and it was really, really neat. And it was a little bit of a sad story. It was a happy story, too. It was a couple on Beckman's Peninsula, and they needed to sell their house because they were getting older, and she was having some issues, whatever. And we sold the house for around $1 million. But I was going back through the deeds, and they had went to Frostburg, and when they graduated from Frostburg, they traded one of their teachers at Frostburg a piano for the lot. So, I mean, legit. And nice. I don't know. It took 60 years to get there, but they turned a piano into $1 million and an entire lifelong of family memories.
So cool.
Like,
I love that.
Wow. Hopefully it was a nice piano.
I have no idea. I guarantee it's not around anymore.
I mean, it better be a nice piano to give away that experience, Well, hey, if there was value in it, there was value in it. But I appreciate you guys kind of sharing this real estate update. And, I've got to get you guys back in the future or regularly to kind of keep us in the loop. It's nice to know where this market is and where these opportunities are in our community. Again, I like that you're really focusing on those families that want to come and make Garrett County home. We need to grow. We have a great community. Mike, to your point, our local economy is booming right now. State of Maryland, maybe not in the best shape, but Garrett County certainly is in great shape, and we're seeing some exponential growth in good ways.
One more second. We were concentrating on Deep Creek because that's what we were talking about because of the podcast and everything, but or the Not Salty podcast. But Garrett County real estate is doing really well too. And if you haven't looked on it yet, get online and Google. The Grantsville Attainable Housing Project coming along. Dirt's actually moving. There's really big support behind the county to get local real estate here that's affordable and attainable for local people too. So there's a big push for that too. It is changing. I've been involved with, I don't know, lose track how many developments over the years. And you get a development, it's on paper, and you think you're going to start living there tomorrow. Oh, it takes time. There's stormwater management, there's permits, there's a salamander you didn't expect to live in that creek that slows things down. But it is moving, it takes time. And that's been at a lot of public meetings, attainable housing for local people, a big issue. And it's not fixed yet, but there is a lot of stuff going on to fix it. Start Googling it, you'll see it, and there'll be some county meetings coming up soon.
Yeah, and I think that's fair to say. It's good that you highlight that project because, everyone's trying to figure out this problem simultaneously. There's no one way to do it, but I really think that Garrett County, in keeping with Garrett County's track record, we're kind of innovating right now in this space, and this community, which is called Hemlock Grove, is going to be one of those. And I think attainable housing is right. It's going to be in that affordable market that helps get families here for their first time home to help them grow. And I think it's GarrettCountyLiving.com, right?
That's
they
correct.
can learn more about that?
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
awesome. So GarrettCountyLiving.com, they can learn more. And speaking of contacts, there are people that are listening, I'm sure, that want to get a hold of you guys, that want to maybe learn more, that want to listen to the podcast, they want to listen to what you have to say about the market. Maybe they want to, hire you guys on to represent them. Where would they go? Give me some resources.
Easiest one for us is our website is DCL, like Deep Creek Lake, DCLrealestate.com. That's Mike and I's website. I'm getting better at Facebook and Instagram, but man, I'm 48. Mike is all over Facebook and Instagram. If you get on Instagram, you're gonna find Mike in a minute. But I don't think we have a website for the podcast, do we? Just Facebook?
No, YouTube channel.
We have a YouTube channel for the podcast.
Okay.
It all links together. Your easiest way to find us is DCLrealestate.com or call me 301-501-0735. Or Mike's just programmed in my phone as Mike. I don't remember your number.
484-716-7228.
Awesome.
But no, thanks, Connor. This has been great, man.
Well, I'm happy to have you guys in. Again, I think we learned a lot. I really love that we're able to share this with our listeners. It was a blast coming in and doing your podcast. For those that are listening, number 5 is maybe the best in my opinion, but all of them are good.
It was the one that turned us. Like, we started listening to it. I think we all kind of got comfortable right around 5.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
You rubbed off on us.
I'm not gonna say it's me, but
Well, no, it's funny.
all right.
You showed up with a whole stack of notes and stuff you were going to talk about for that podcast.
We were like,
And today I was like, man, I'm going to bring some notes and impress him. I didn't bring anything.
Yeah,
I brought
that's-
coffee.
It's funny. This morning I was typing up show notes and stuff, and I said, you know what? We didn't have to do that for their show. I'm not even doing it for this one. We're going off the cuff.
yeah.
This was all unscripted, but it ended up like, with you guys, it's easy. It's free flowing in. Like, I didn't have to tell you to speak up into the microphones or anything. You guys just got it, and that's awesome.
You talked about HDTV a little bit ago, right before it started. I've done a couple of episodes of HDTV, and it's so weird. Like, you're ready to free flow and everything until a camera's right in your face, and you're like,
Yeah. It's totally different.
Yeah,
You go blank, and eventually you learn it. You get thrown in the fire plenty of times. You learn quickly. And yeah, I was telling Jon about this right before we got started. I was upstairs the other day, and I just heard his voice in my living room. I'm like, I don't think he knows where I live, but I go downstairs, and yeah, you're on HGTV.
I think I did 8 episodes. I was supposed to do 10, and I did 7 or 8, and then COVID happened, and some people don't know this. HGTV doesn't actually make the episodes. A company does, and they sell them to HGTV. So then that company went out of business during... So I did 7 or 8. They sold them to HGTV. That company went out of business during COVID, but I still get a lot of reruns, and I don't look up to see when I'm being reruns, but it's the craziest thing. It'll be 6:30 p.m. I'll look at my phone, and I have 84 text messages from all across the country being like, dude, you're on TV! And no, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Like I said, you were in my living room, and yeah, go downstairs, and what's the name of the show?
Lakefront Bargain Hunt.
Lakefront
We did
Bargain
2
Hunt,
of them.
okay.
There was Lakefront Bargain Hunt's just a half-hour one, where it's me showing them houses, and they buy one in a half hour. Then we did Lakefront Bargain Hunt Renovations, which is an hour-long show, which is when they come down here, buy a house, and hire a contractor and renovate it. It takes an hour. It takes 6 months, but on TV it's an hour.
Yeah.
And there is one being filmed here now. So there's a new one. I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about and not, but they restructured. The new company did it, so realtors aren't actually involved with it. It is a house that Mike sold. It's one of our customers. Mike, I'll tell a story. Like HDTV, one of the companies reached out to us, and we said, oh, we know the house, but they're doing a little bit of a different spin where it's more about the homeowner than the realtor. So Mike and I aren't in it, but it is a house at the lake, and it is a customer that will come out. The renovation's still heavy in progress. Like
but
Really?
it's an original, like, old
Super
1950s cab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool.
Nice. We'll have to get it out when that comes out.
so you're
that'd be
probably
cool
a
to see.
year away from that.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
I don't know if they'll mention Mike or not, but Mike sold the house. I'll mention it when it happens.
Yeah,
Nice.
me
Yeah,
too.
we'll put it out everywhere. To look forward to. Mike sold this house.
They reached
Yeah,
out
it'd
to
be
me and then cut me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, finally, I'm going to get some episodes on Jon.
Yeah, I know. Got a lot of catching up.
Well, guys, again, I appreciate you coming in. Anything else you'd like to share with the audience here? Kind of open mic.
We have a lot of artists in this area that are super talented, and I built a recording studio in my basement, and so I'm working on some audiobook stuff with some friends of mine, some clients, and any musicians or anybody who needs a recording studio space at all. I'd love to collaborate and do that stuff as well. So feel free to reach out to me about that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Jon? Anything special going on?
No, I'm not very artistic. I bought an app to help me learn how to play the guitar, but I'm not doing very good with it.
Anybody looking for guitar lessons as well, I'm available.
I'll call you later.
Yeah.
Hey, you learn from them. You use the recording space. That's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
The only last thing is we'll let you go. I'm sure we're over. But if you haven't paid attention, get online and Google the DCL 100th birthday. This was Deep Creek Lake's 100th birthday. I think there's still a couple more events coming on. I feel like there's something at Yacht Club on Sunday I'm going to. But anyway, it was really, really cool. The lake turned 100 this year. And you want to talk about just cool stuff. They did a light drone show. Just really neat stuff about Deep Creek. And it was neat to see all that come together because I don't know, it was just very cool. So
Yeah. During April, they called upon me to do the trivia for it.
yeah.
So for
Oh,
4
that was
weeks.
one of the questions.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, one of the HGTV questions. You were the answer.
I wasn't there, but if people were cheating because I was getting people were texting me, was it me or not? You were asking the question, and I'm gonna tell you 4 or 5 people in the audience I won't name were texting me what the answers were, and I was like, just pay attention. So that's how I knew I was one of the questions.
Tiger Claw.
There you go. If you don't know what that is, you need to listen to the Not Salty podcast. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. Again,
Thanks.
We've got Jon Bell, Mike Fenton from Railey Realty, and so many other things. You guys are in 100 million different things, like all of us. But we're having a good time. Thank you for coming in to the Business B.E.A.R podcast, and thank you all for listening to our show today. If you want to pick up when more episodes are dropping, be following us at Garrett County, Maryland, Department of Business Development. On our Facebook, we have a LinkedIn, we have a Twitter or X, whatever Elon's calling it these days. We now also have an Instagram. Please follow us there. That we're really trying to make happen. But thanks for listening, and folks, we'll see you on the other side.